But I'm kind of excited in a way, I think, because there is, I've kind of got a bit of a new focus, a new energy, if you like, that I am looking forward to sharing a little bit with you today. And so that's going to be fun. So let's start our time together. Now, let me jump over to my slides so I can sort of walk you through all of this. Hopefully those will come through for you momentarily. What I encourage you to do as we go through this is drop comments into the chat. And if you've got any questions, put them into the chat. I'd love to hear from you there. Neil will probably be there in the background to make sure that I don't miss anything. So thanks for that, Neil. But otherwise, we'll go through. I'm going to stop periodically. We'll talk about questions you have and comments you make. But one of the things we've focused on over the last quarter is consistency awards. So we've added these in now. So the point of this is really to sort of encourage consistency in the work that you're doing in BMA. And so in this quarter and in the next quarter and going forward, we're actually going to have consistency awards that we're going to award in every quarterly community update. And for this one, we're going to actually give away a free thing. In fact, probably 2 free things. I'll talk about that in a moment. So this is all about encouraging you to take consistent steps toward mastery. So you basically, if you get a Stefanos Menos, a monthly crown, then you'll be in for these consistency awards, right? Now, you also have to be a mastery member or a premium member. We're not doing this for people who just have the app without those memberships. So this is only for those of you who are mastery members. This was going back to our monthly crowns. This was introduced in early September. And the idea of a monthly crown is that every day you get a mastery point for, for completing your vocab, getting your due words down to 0 due words. And every time you do that, or each day you do that, you get a mastery point. And every day that you do that consecutively goes toward getting a Stefanos Menos, a crown of the month, monthly crown. And so what we're doing here is that we're going to create these, we're instituting these quarterly consistency awards. And these are going to be, this is for people who received a Stefanos Menos, 1 or more Stefanos Menos throughout the quarter. It's basically a single prize draw, randomly selected, and each Stefanos Menos is 1 entry, okay? Wonderful. All right, back to this. So we're going to do another prize draw. That's going to be early next week as well. So if you're not Jason, feel free to, you'll still get another chance at this next week when I draw this. I will draw it at random, post it into the community. And if you've posted a screenshot with your consistency for September on the replay of this call, you will also go into the draw, even if you didn't get a Stefanos Menos. All right. So let's move on. Congratulations. Great work. Keep up the consistency. We want to really encourage you to be consistent in your growth in Greek. Let me give you a very brief update on what we've been up to over the last little bit. And I just want to make a quick comment about merch here. As you know, merch is always available in the store. The level 4 workbook is going to be produced in the next few days. So you'll be able to see that land in the store in the next couple of days as well. So for those of you who are going on to level 4, you will see that appear pretty soon. And of course, the paradigm poster is there as well. Other than the workbook level 4, there's nothing new to see there. The other thing I wanted to just bring you up to date on was the success path. All the levels now are introduced for the entire success path, which means if you finish a milestone, you shouldn't be getting an invitation to start a new milestone. You should now be getting an invitation to join a level. Now, there is one exception to this, and that is level 7, which is still missing, but that is coming this month. Look at that. That's this month. This is the Pauline Epistles course, and this is starting on October the 9th, Pacific time. I'll talk about this again in just a moment. All right, come back to that. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that the milestones are about to disappear entirely. Over the next few weeks, months, however long it takes you to finish the milestone you're in, you should get an invitation to join the next level, not milestone, okay? So just FYI, milestones are going away, and you should get an invitation to a level instead. Beginning Greek. Okay, so we've got a bunch of beginning Greek courses. I am starting another one in a couple of weeks. So if you want to start another beginning Greek course, or if you want to restart beginning Greek with me, we can do that. We're going to start that on October 14. This is a brand new course. It will be done, level 1 will be done by Christmas. And the reason I started this one and the last one as well is because of obviously BMA Tutor. And what I'm trying to do is introduce BMA Tutor to these new students as they start their program, and so that we can get them using these exercises and so on. So Neil is still running levels 3, 4, and 5, all of which are either starting this week, I believe. So those are all underway as well. Stephen's level 5 course just finished. Stephen will probably start level 1 in January, though TBD will just, there may be some changes to that yet. Going back to the question of coming advanced courses, like I mentioned, October, the Pauline Epistles course is finally coming. If you are excited about that, leave a comment, let us know about your excitement. Okay, I'm keen to get this started, and it's about time. All right, this introduces level 7. So in a few days, probably, we're getting the creative worked on right now. I will invite people who have completed level 6 to join level 7. Okay, so if you've already completed level 6, wait for it. I will send you an invitation to join our level 7 when it's ready. Okay, it's not ready right now. It will be ready in the next week and a bit or thereabouts. This course is effectively part 2 of our intermediate Greek program, which means it follows on from our Johannine Epistles course. So again, just like the Johannine Epistles course had you reading through 1 through 3 John, and then we would look at what is the Greek text saying in this, what are we sort of seeing in terms of nuance of the Greek text in these passages. We're going to do the same thing, but this time with 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, and in order of 2nd Thessalonians, then 1st Thessalonians, okay? Now, this course starts on, like I said, October 9th, 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. If you go into the events in the course cohort, when I invite you, that's when you'll see it. When I invite you to that level 7 course, you will see it in your time zone, so you can make a decision whether you can join us for that live or whether you want to watch the replays. The replays will be posted in the same level 7 course, okay? So just look for it there. So all of this is coming in October next, a week and a bit or so, very, very soon. Okay, now this is going to be something we're going to repeat. So every time we do a level 6 cohort, we'll give it a week or 2 weeks break, and then we'll go on to level 7 as well. So there'll be a nice easy flow from one level to the other eventually, but for the moment, that's not the way it is. For what it's worth, for those of you who are looking at finishing beginning Greek or have just finished beginning Greek in January, we have our next Johannine Epistles course coming up, so you can join us for level 6 then, which means that in April, we will have an interpretation of Ephesians course and a Pauline Epistles course kicking off together as well. All right, so look forward to sharing those with you as well. And as usual, I will probably update the interpretation of Ephesians course again, though it will depend on how much time I have available. The course is actually pretty reasonable the way it is right now. It probably just could always do with a bit more tweaking. All right, so effectively then, our levels are complete. Our entire program, like this whole new level system, is going to be complete throughout October, which is fantastic given we've had it in place for probably 12 months or more now. So I'm really excited to finally have this all finished. Let's talk a bit about beginning Hebrew in small steps as well. As I mentioned before, this is already underway. Level 1 is complete. Level 2 is due for completion soon. Frank is making steady progress on this, and his mission is to stay ahead of you by several lessons, and he's maintained that so far, which means that he's going to be starting level 3 over the next little bit. So that means we're getting, like I mentioned last time, we've got 1 level of beginning Hebrew in small steps being released per quarter. The beginning Hebrew in small steps course is probably going to run twice per year initially. We may increase that to 3 later, but for the moment, Frank has plenty to do with building the course out. I know what that's like. Course builds are really challenging. There's a lot of work in a course build, not just from the point of view of actually building the material, I mean, it's just the thinking through the material, writing the material, right, building the videos for it, providing all the explanations, uploading it, getting the creative ready, all of those sorts of things. So there's a lot of work in building a course, and Frank's been doing a great job of just making sure he stays ahead of you. So Hebrew is coming along, and it's going to keep coming along for the foreseeable future, which is great. Let's talk a little bit about Tutor. You know what's been going on with BMA Tutor. Just as a quick recap for those of you who have been hiding under a rock, this is part of your membership. BMA Tutor is just a website. It's a progressive website. You will find more information about it inside the community. If you go to BMA Tutor under Member Home there, you'll find more details about it, and you can add this to your home screen. So one of the things about a progressive web app, and I'm really, really enjoying this progressive web app concept, is basically it's a web page, but it can run on your device like a native web app, and it can run on any device, which I really like about this. And it's working really well. It's fast. It's you know, obviously it sometimes has its issues, but it's pretty cool, and I'm pretty happy about this. And obviously what we're doing with Tutor is it's getting us one step closer to providing everything you need to learn Greek. It integrates with beginning Greek in small steps. We will probably add intermediate Greek to it, such as the Joanine epistles and the Pauline epistles. I'll come back to that in a moment. It also obviously has vocabulary all the way through, and it functions really as a tutor, right? So it's got beginning Greek exercises, and then it's got readings and prompts, and obviously it encourages consistency and so on. So BMA Tutor has been, I think, a big improvement on Flashcards Deluxe. And I think, you know, as I think about this, this is going to make a huge difference to our membership as a whole. So some of the recent updates I just wanted to let you know about. We've made some UI changes. This is kind of where it was a few weeks ago. This is what it looked like. Now we've kind of got this much, I don't know, I like it. It's a lot cleaner looking, I think. I like having the progression indicator on the main screen. I think that's a really helpful thing. In fact, that's really reduced a lot of the support requests we did have. And then, of course, you can see there we've got groups and dictionary. I'm probably going to add another chip down the bottom there. Those little colored things, little boxes at the bottom there are called chips. I'm going to add another chip there to jump you directly to your lesson. I think that would be helpful. I had a support request yesterday from somebody to say, how do I go to my lesson? That would be the way to do it. Just click on that. The progression awareness is critical, and I think putting the progression indicator there has been helpful. It's also on the success path as well, and of course it's on your vocab screen. We've also improved rewards. As I mentioned, we had the mastery points, but now we also have the Stephanos Menos for which encourages you to get a mastery point every day. And as you know, the little green crown at the top there next to this month tells you that you're on track to earn a Stephanos Menos. And if it's yellow, you are close, but you need to complete today's one. And if it's missing, well, there's not much hope for you for this month. But hey, there's always next month, and that's one of the nice things about it. I've also recently made some caching improvements. My goal with that is if you are using multiple devices, and I know a lot of you are, that we're trying to automatically update the vocab that's due between devices. It's not perfect yet. I'm still working on it. But I think it's a little bit better than it was. And of course, there's ongoing improvements that we continue to make as well. One of those is, of course, every week I'm trying to add a new set of lesson exercises for beginning Greek in small steps. This week, or last week, I added lesson 15. And as I teach through beginning Greek in small steps, we're in level 2 now. I'm going to continue adding one lesson a week to make sure that those who are going through have all of the lessons they need to be able to do that. That includes concept quizzes, like the old, we used to have the concept flashcards. Well, those will be replaced with concept quizzes now, which is, I think, really cool. You can quiz yourself on the current lesson or on previous lessons. It's really easy, works really well. We're also continuing to add audio and images, images at a slower rate than the audio. You can see here 72.9% on the audio as of last night when I went to work after I'd done a few more. Nearly 4,000 words have audio. All of level 1 has audio. Almost all of level 3 has audio. There's a few lessons in level 18 that don't have audio. And there are 3 levels in stage 2 that don't have audios. So most of it is there. We're getting there. I'm continuing to add a little bit more every day. Takes a bit of time, and we've got a couple of people helping me now with images. And if you are interested in helping me with images, please let me know. We can help you. We've got tools inside of Tutor set up so that if you do want to help with helping me with vocab and whatnot, yeah, you can do that as well. All right, the other thing I wanted to mention about Tutor is it's a support tool for us as well. You've seen the front of office kind of stuff, which means to say that you've seen, how it helps you learn vocabulary and things like that, but it's also becoming for us a core tool for our everyday management of everything in BMA. First of all, you can now submit support requests through Tutor, and it doesn't have to be a tutor-related support request, though you can do that. In fact, even if you see a typo on your vocabulary, there's a little bug button in the top right corner. Tap that. That will create a support request, so we can update those pretty quickly. But if you have any requests, anything you want help with, or you find problems in anything, put it into a support request, and those come through to us, and we check those every day and normally clear them pretty quickly as well. This allows us, obviously, to fix things quickly, and we've got a nice list of who's doing what and tracking what, where, and everything as well. This means that Tutor is now our primary customer support tool. You can see here, this is a screenshot from behind the scenes. It tells us how many mastery members we have, or how many different members at different levels we have, and cancellations pending and so on. The nice thing about using Tutor as a support tool behind the scenes is it reduces the number of tools that we need. Our information now about all of our customers, all of you, is all in one place. And it means that it's really easy for us to go and provide support for you as you want it. You want to change your billing, we can do that really easily. The Tutor actually helps us with all of that as well. It means that we can provide personalized support for you based on your progress. We can see your progress, where you're up to. We can look at your, we can provide feedback for you. If someone's struggling with their vocabulary, we can look at, what's your review history looking like? How can we encourage you in that? And so on. And so we're looking at how does this, what insights does this provide into the challenges that you're facing so that we can improve what we do generally. So we're looking at things like, where do people stop making progress? Those kinds of things. And that helps us then to really take, steps that we need to take to make the membership even better. We also see how version adoption is going. You can see here, this is a day or two old now, but we can sort of see what versions of the software are being used by how many people. This was right after I released 2.10. And of course, I'm the only user at that point, and I typically release these things overnight. Then I use them, try it out, make sure it works, fix it if it doesn't. Very few people see those buggy versions if they are buggy, not that they are. I normally just go, oh, I should have improved that anyway. But anyway, we can see how all of that is going, and we can see the rollout of versions as well. Which all of this really just means that we are, because of Tutor, not only do you get a better experience, but we are better able to support and build this ministry as a result of BMA Tutor as well. So this is a real game changer for us as well. So what's next for Tutor? Let me just say this right up front. We're largely feature complete. There's not a lot more left to do with BMA Tutor from the Greek side of things. Now, there are a few features that need to be tweaked. There's lots of room for improvement still. There's always things I'm coming across going, I wish that was better. We may remove features as well. In fact, I've already removed one feature that I promoted early on, or earlier on, and it's now gone, and nobody has mentioned it. If you've noticed it, leave a comment in the chat. Let me know what that feature was that I removed, if you know what it was. But there are features from time to time that we may remove that are, if they're unused or underused, if they just add unnecessary complexity and bulk to the app. So we aren't necessarily here about just creating features for the fun of it. There are some features left to add over the next little bit. They're not big ones, but they are going to be helpful. One of them is a focus pack. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then one of the questions I wanted to know here is, would it be helpful to have the translation exercises from Beginning Greek in Small Steps integrated into Tutor? If you think it would be, I would love to hear from you. Let me know down in the chat there as well. I would love to hear from you there. And would it be good to have, just say, add exercises, and that would be really helpful. So that'd be good. All right. The other thing here too is that we need to add more user support and help. Now, obviously, inside the membership, we've started introducing these tutor tips. We're going to continue to do that. I think those have been helpful. I don't know. Let me know what you think. But I think those would be helpful. And if there's any subjects you'd like me to cover, feel free to let me know. I can do that as well. But yeah, let me know. Keen to hear from you there. Tutor tips, I think, have been helpful. They come out once a week, and I will continue to post those once a week as I come up with questions that people have, and I write a response to that. The other thing we want to do is fuller documentation and videos. This will be public on our website, and there's going to be a number of different ways we do this. I think part of this will be part of what we do from a marketing point of view to some extent as well. But certainly we want to give you a better sort of documentation than what we have when you're developing an app. You know, everything is in flux. Once you've kind of got features are settled, then documentation can be written, and it can be, it can stay in a particular state for a decent amount of time. The other thing I just wanted to let you know is that in January, I'm going to begin work on Hebrew. This will be vocabulary first, but again, as time goes on, we will add the ability to create other exercises and whatnot for Hebrew inside of Tutor as well. All right, let me look at the chat there. Looks at these comments. Yes, add exercises, add exercises. Tutor tips are helpful. Good. Yes to tutor tips. Add exercises, add exercises. All right, I will add exercises. Thank you for your feedback. I appreciate that. All right, there's also some membership benefit changes that I'm making this quarter as well. This is really where you probably want to pay attention. I guess if you're not already, I know you already are, because there's a lot of you just chatting away, which is great. Thank you. Greek workshop calls, let's talk about those. Greek workshop calls have got pretty low attendance, and probably more significant than the low attendance is the low replay watch. So we might have 4 to 5 people join those calls with us, sometimes less, sometimes more. But we might only have, another 3 or 4 people might watch those, and I suspect some of those people are on the call to just catch something that was said or something like that, but they don't get a lot of usage. And I think part of the reason for this is there's kind of a high barrier to entry, a high barrier to join those. It's kind of a psychological thing, really. They are an hour long, so there's a time issue. You're reading and translating Greek on the fly in a group, and I think there's a confidence issue related to that. The people who do join us typically do some preparation, and they do read beforehand, and that preparation time prepares them, but that requires more time. And so I think these are things that prevent people from joining the Greek workshop calls. And again, if you've got any opinion on anything I'm talking about here with Greek workshop calls, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Now, the problem with this, of course, is that there is a cost to run 8 to 10 of these 1-hour calls each month when they don't really engage with you. And one of the things I'm doing is trying to think through what are we doing? I mean, how do we help you? How do we encourage you? Our goal really is to increase your engagement with Greek and the Greek New Testament. And the reason I originally put these Greek workshop calls in place was because when I was in seminary, one of the things I loved was the ability to sit down in class with a teacher and other professors and just read the text together. And I thought that would be great to bring into the membership. But the usage of them hasn't been as good, and I think for the reasons I've just mentioned there. But what we are trying to do is provide opportunities to improve your biblical knowledge, to encourage engagement with the Word of God, reading the Word and memorizing the text as well, which is really more of a newer kind of thing. I've really been focusing on memorization now that I've got the memorization tool in Tutor. And I'm going to actually share some resources on memorization, because this is a really cool, meditation on the Word of God is super powerful. Anyway, so what I'm doing is we're going to retire Greek workshop calls as they are now. And what we're going to do instead is introduce a new monthly text/theme. Okay, what I mean by this is we're introducing a theme, but each month I'm going to choose a 12 to 15 verse text and a theme that arises from it. And then what we're going to do is each week in the community, I'm going to post 2 times. The first time will be on Monday Pacific time, the second one will be on Thursday Pacific time. And each of these, on the Monday, it will be like there's a different thing going to be each week. So basically there's a cadence throughout the month. We're going to be basically week 1 is focused on observation. Week 2 will be interpretation. as will week 3. Week 4 will be application. If there are 5 weeks, in fact, I think I've got this here. Week 1 is observation. Week 2 is interpretation. So we'll talk about resources. We'll talk about insights. Week 3 is really focus areas within the text. So interpretation within this area of text. This is where the theme will really come to the fore, I hope. And then week 4 is going to be application, personal application. And then if we have 5 months in a week, we're going to have a second week of application, which is about how would you teach through this, okay? So we're going to introduce our first one next month. We're calling the first theme Devotion with Intentionality. Kind of this integrates with what we're going to be doing from a marketing point of view as well. But effectively, what we're doing with this is there's going to be a monthly call. So we're still going to do a call where we read and translate the text. We're going to spend 20 to 30 minutes doing that. But on that call, we're also going to explore 1 or 2 exegetical concerns that comes out of those weekly posts as you interact with them and think about them, read the resources, read the text itself. We're going to explain 1 to 2 points of application that comes from this as well. We're focusing on the heart, and so as you go through this, one of the things I really hope we will do together is we'll build a really solid model for application of the Word of God, focusing on the mind, the affections, and volition. And then we are going to spend 5 to 10 minutes discussing how would we teach through this, how would we present this as well. So that's what we're going to do in our monthly course. So we're still going to be doing the reading, translation kind of piece of it, but because we've been working with this text for a few weeks by this stage, everybody should be able to sort of feel a little bit more confident joining in for this. And even if you don't, it's no big deal. There's going to be plenty of other stuff on this call to benefit from as well. And this is part of the reason here is there's no need to participate. So we're trying to lower the barrier to entry for you to join in with this activity. Okay, so one of the things we're going to do with this too is to introduce what we call focus packs, or what I'm going to call focus packs, into Tutor to support this. So like the theme for October is going to be devotion with intentionality, like I mentioned, but the verse for it's going to be Philippians chapter 2, verses 1 through 13. Now, you might be saying, well, what do I do? I'm not up to Philippians chapter 2, verses 1 to 13. I'm in 1 John. Well, that's what focus packs are designed to solve. So these are designed for those who are not yet up to that passage, right? So these are going to include the vocabulary for the passage that we're reading for that month. And so that means you're going to be able to learn the vocab so you can read the text in Greek. Now, obviously, if you're still halfway through beginning Greek, that's going to be very challenging because you won't have dealt with things like infinitives and participles and so on. But if you are in, say, 1 John, 2 John, you'll be able to add this focus pack, learn the vocabulary for the pack this week, for this month rather, and read along with us, be part of this with us. This will already it will remove any words you already know from it, so you only learn the words you don't already know. And then it's going to give you also a selected memory verse from the text for the month, and then a link to read the text of the month inside of Tutor as well. And you will find a chip on the main screen. And on that chip, you will be able to find all the focus packs that you've previously loaded and have a look at them and refresh them and all those kinds of things, okay? So that's what's coming to support this inside of Tutor. You'll be able to click a link. So basically what I'll do is in the community, I'm going to post a link, click the link, it will add the focus pack to your Tutor and go ahead, learn the vocab, memorize the vocab, the memory verse if you want to, and then read and join in with us. So that's what's going to be happening to support this monthly theme. I reckon this is actually really cool because I love this idea of having everybody be able to read through this text with us. Even if you're in 1 John, you know, okay, I get that you might not want to, but the fact is that nobody, if you're finished beginning Greek, you can join in with us. You can read this with us. And so I think this is going to be really cool. Again, Tutor enables this where we couldn't have done this previously. The other thing I want to mention here is just with regards to your engagement. It's completely optional, right? You can have a very light touch, lurk in the community, maybe add the focus pack to Tutor if you want to. You can completely ignore it if you want to and do nothing. If you want to, you could have a medium level of engagement where maybe you respond to some of the questions and polls that I post. Maybe you memorize the verse of the month and that's maybe all you do. Maybe you read the text, something like that. Or you could be fully invested in this, respond to everything, do the solid exegetical work to, you know, and then join our call and contribute to it as well. And like I mentioned, well, I haven't mentioned this, but the interpretation of Ephesians class is really going to provide a framework for that full exegetical workup. So what we're doing in the monthly theme is giving you a light touch from an exegetical point of view, at least from a prompting point of view. But behind the scenes, you can start to use those skills that you've developed and really dig into this and post some of your own, things that you develop and you see as you do the exegesis on this passage. So look for the first passage on the first Monday of the month, okay? So this will be posted next Monday, Pacific time, Tuesday, New Zealand time. And I look forward to hearing your interest, seeing if you're interested in this. I hope you're interested in this. Whenever you put together something like this, there's always this risk of people going, oh my goodness, that sounds terrible. And I know nobody's going to say that because you're all too polite, but I hope there's not going to be I hope you won't miss the Greek workshop calls too much. I hope that this will kind of give you some stimulation and engagement in the word. My hope, what I'm sort of doing, just for what you know as well, here is I'm actually using text that I've already preached or spoken through. And if I haven't yet done it, I'll be preparing before the month starts. And that means then that I've got a whole teaching outline. I've got a whole thing that I can be using for this as well. And you don't have to teach the way I teach, of course. We're all going to teach differently. But I've got sermon outlines and all these kinds of things. And, it's just one way of doing this. But nonetheless, I think this will be helpful. And the reason I chose Philippians is because actually last Sunday, I preached on Philippians chapter 2, verses 12 and 13. And it draws heavily on Philippians 2, particularly verses 5 through 8 as well. So really important, really helpful. And I think this will be interesting and useful, but I'm interested in, I know all of you were typing a moment ago. Feel free just to drop your comments in there, finish those things you're thinking about. Let me know what you think on this, okay? I really appreciate your feedback on it as well. So new monthly themes are coming. First one is coming on Monday. This is not an official, this is just something I got ChatGPT to put together yesterday, but it is coming next week, all right? So look forward to that. So Philippians chapter 2, verses 1 to 13, I will post the details next week. Shift and focus. Let me talk about this. This is one of the things I think I'm pretty excited about. And it might not sound like much of an excitement thing, but I've spent the last 2.5, maybe almost 3 years in what I call build mode. We've written Beginning Greek in Small Steps. We've written the Joannean Epistles course. We've got the Pauline Epistles course yet to come. I've now written a whole app as well, BMA Tutor, to support what we do. We have fundamentally changed before all of this, we used to use somebody else's grammar. We used to use Flashcards Deluxe. We used to have you download all these apps and all of these flashcard decks and all of this kind of thing. It's changed. This has all changed the membership quite significantly. And so it's time for me to start marketing. Over the last 2.5 years, we've largely stayed flat in terms of our member numbers. Now we have a completely different model available to us. And that is that basically what we're going to do going forward, and there's a lot of trial and error still to do here, but effectively what we're doing is we're driving everything through Tutor first to the mastery membership. Okay, so people will start learning Greek using BMA Tutor, and then what we'll do is as we introduce new cohorts, we will encourage those members, those people who are using Tutor, to join the Greek Mastery membership. And when they do that, they will get the first 2 calls of that cohort free when we start a new Beginning Greek course. And part of the idea of this is that they will go download Tutor, they might have a bit of a play around with it, and then we'll introduce them, we'll jump on a call with them, give them the replays. But in those 2 calls, we're going to both start them learning Greek, we're going to show them how to start learning Greek in BMA Tutor. And then the second lesson, of course, will be introducing the additional exercises you get in Tutor, how to use those to be able to learn Greek. And so you saw the update I gave a couple of days ago, where now you have to mark the lesson, the reading complete before you can reveal the exercises. This is the reason why, because we want those new BMA Tutor customers, Greek Tutor customers, to basically be able to read the text and then unlock the exercises just by doing that. So that's what we're kind of doing. So over the next few months, we have got a fresh marketing plan, if you like. In fact, our marketing is going to change dramatically. Not dramatically, our marketing is going to change from what it was previously. And so, yeah, so there you go. All right, so that's pretty much it for me. I'm just going to go through some of these, go through some of the comments. I've realized I've just had all the comments hidden, my word. So feel free to, if you've got any questions, feel free to drop them into the chat. If you've got ideas, the things that will help you, let us know. Anything that comes to mind, I'm here for you. And I'm basically, this is the end. And if I'm going to go through and just go through the questions, comment on those, you know, comment on the questions and whatnot. And then we'll be done. If you have to go, you have to go. Appreciate you sticking around. So thank you. Cool. Let me go through some of these. Beginning of, we wouldn't benefit from workshops unless we're part of BGSS. Okay. Yeah, so Fiona's making a comment there. Thank you, Fiona. Vocab challenge sometimes as well. That's an interesting idea, Joanne. Send me a message what you mean, Joanne, about vocab challenges. I'm interested in that. Yeah, some time zones do make it hard, Lisa. I get what you're saying there about joining calls. I get that. And, you know, we have had the Greek workshop calls in 2 time zones, well, in 2 different time slots. And I know it's not perfect for everybody. So, you know, it is what it is, right? I will be running probably these once a month calls for what it's worth, and they will probably be early New Zealand time, which will be probably late, you know, 12-hour offset to the UK, 3 to 5 hour offset to the US. Okay, so that's roughly what we'll be doing. Okay, let me go back to Fiona's, your comment. We were told at the beginning we wouldn't benefit from workshops unless we were part of BGSS, past BGSS. That's true. The workshops haven't been as helpful for people in beginning Greek, but I think the offset to that I would suggest is that there's so much to do in beginning Greek anyway that you probably don't need to be stressing about reading new Greek texts, and so that's fine. My hope with the new monthly themes is that they will, even though they are not as applicable to people in beginning Greek still, they will still be, I think, something more aspirational. I also suspect that they will be the sort of thing that there's going to be comments and discussions inside of the community that that will benefit people anyway. So hopefully this will be as good, if not better. And even if you're in beginning Greek, you don't have to do the reading. You can still join that call and hopefully they will be beneficial to you. So yeah, so that's true. And I think that's another barrier to entry for the Greek workshop calls. And hopefully they won't be such a barrier to entry for these new themes as well. Keenan said, I really haven't been able to attend the last 3 weeks because we've been getting ready to have a baby. Congratulations. Really loved the calls last quarter when I went through level 1. Well, good work, Keenan. You were doing well. Keep up the good work. And I want to encourage you to keep watching the replays or come back and join us for level 2. We did level 2, lesson 13 this week. You can watch the replay for that again if you want. And we're going back to level 14 again. Laura, exegesis. I thought you'd like that, Laura. Thank you. Yeah. Christopher, love this idea. Thank you, Christopher. Appreciate that. Cohort calls are awesome. Yeah, I know. Yeah, the Greek workshop calls are calls that have been really, yeah, anyway, you know what they are now. Would the monthly theme be for a student at any level or just more advanced students? So I think anybody will be able to benefit from them, but I think you'll benefit from them in different ways. And this is the difference, right? With the Greek workshop call, you would benefit from a conversation that we might have about a genitive or something like that if you had learned about genitives. But if you hadn't, and we're having, let's say you hadn't learned about participles and we were talking about participle use, it's probably not so useful. So the Greek workshop calls probably weren't as helpful. I think something like this, you're looking at the actual Greek text. You're going to be seeing how people are reading the Greek text as people who have knowledge of Greek, who have an understanding of how to do exegesis. And I think that means that you're going to be getting more value from those insights throughout the month than you would if you were just joining a Greek workshop course. So I think this will be better for anybody. And of course, Jerry, if you wanted to, you can add the pack if you want to, the focus pack, and then you can memorize the text if you want, or you don't have to. I think you want to be further down the track in Greek, but you still get access, you still get benefit without adding the focus pack, just from the conversation in the community. And that's kind of part of my goal here. Nathaniel, will we recycle through the reading translation each week to increase memory of the passage? Yeah, I'm open to ideas like that. We're not going to have a weekly call, But what we can do is we could perhaps, like we've got a weekly, like people are posting the verses throughout the week now. What I can possibly do is post or schedule a post of verses from the monthly theme throughout the weeks as well, so that you're reading and rereading the text as we go through. I might experiment with that a little bit, so that's a good idea. Nicholas, my limitation for workshop calls has been the timing. Yeah, I look for classes on Mondays and Fridays only. That's interesting. Okay, it's interesting. Yep, cool, good to know. Brilliant idea. Thank you, David. Appreciate that. Alan Brown sounds brilliant. Great. Thank you, Alan. David Mullins, I'd like a closer look at the grammar and how the grammar works with what the author is trying to communicate. Yes. One of the things that I hope that will come out of these monthly themes is exactly that kind of thing. So the interpretation weeks, that's where we're going to be looking at what is the author actually trying to say when he says this? What is his meaning? Not his significance, what is his meaning? So we'll talk about the difference between meaning and significance and whatnot as well. Will I include an audio of the memory verse? Yeah, sure, I can do that. Modern, everything's in modern pronunciation for us going forward, Nathaniel. Just saying that though, Zach Iqbal has been putting together an Erasmian pronunciation of vocab for beginning Greek. I have to make some tweaks to Tutor to integrate that, but you may soon be able to choose Erasmian pronunciation for beginning Greek vocab if you choose to do so. Okay, now probably won't apply to everything. There are 5,400 words to learn, and I'm not convinced Zach could do all of those, though he may. But if you've got Erasmian pronunciation turned on and Zach has done an Erasmian pronunciation for that word, hopefully you'll be able to hear that. So that may be something that will come along in the future as well. Cool, there's a lot of good feedback here. Jim Arthur, sounds great. Count me in, Laura says. Adam D, thumbs up, love that. Thanks, Adam. Are there any plans to do book reading again? Well, we could. I've been tossing that around a little bit. For those of you who don't know, we used to have what's called a reading academy. We started off with reading a book every month. We went to every 2 months. I've been tossing around the idea of bringing those back. Maybe we could do one a quarter or something. Let me know in the comments. Just share something there. Let me know if you'd love me to reintroduce the reading academy. I'm happy to do that. Just let me know in the chat there as well. I'm really glad you guys like this monthly theme idea. I'm really thrilled about that. Brian, Jack, love it. Good. Julie Miller, the monthly text sounds wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Academic book reading. Michael Sehan, I use both. Michael George Miller, great. Okay, let's watch the lessons in a browser. Yeah, I know. Keenan, I can watch the lessons in a browser. $30,000 is crazy. Well, I think the idea of that is that the $30,000 was supposed to do more than that, but it hasn't really delivered. So it's supposed to be a membership, and one of the benefits is the app. And part of that membership is that they teach you how to do marketing and things like that. And really, there's two elements with that. One, they weren't really teaching me anything I didn't already know. And two, they didn't really understand how we serve you and how to speak to you, which means then that it was really difficult to actually take what they were, they would say, hey, you should try doing this. And it's great. I've heard these ideas before. We could go implement them. There's a reason I haven't, perhaps, mostly time, possibly, but it just wasn't that effective. So the most valuable part of this membership was the app, and at $30,000, it isn't worth that much on its own. So I appreciate your support around the app as well. Thank you too, Joshua, for what you said there as well, and Mark Laporta. Yeah, you can set up the website, the community, like an app as well, like Tutor. The only difference, like Mark Laporta, is that, yeah, the notifications, you don't get mobile notifications. If you don't like mobile notifications, I often turn them off for my apps. Then it's not a big deal. Cool. Great stuff. So the math, Joanne says, okay, this is about your challenge, your vocab challenge, the Matthew Greek workshop. I didn't have the vocab mastered to feel like it would be hard to participate. I'm working through Mark right now. Yeah, so, and that's part of the problem. And that's one of the reasons we'll have these focus packs. Short texts are easy to manage with a focus pack. The problem with the Greek workshop calls was that you might read 2 or 3 chapters over the course of a month, or entire books sometimes, and maybe multiple chapters, right? So to do that, to give you the vocab for that whole book may mean that you might get several hundred words, and that becomes a bit nuts. So with a smaller section of text, I can give you the vocab, take out all the words you already know. And so for someone who's like for you, Joanne, who's already done Philippians, there's no new vocab to learn. But for somebody who's in, say, First Thessalonians, it's probably going to be a few dozen, might be a dozen words or something like that. It's not going to be that big. So hopefully this will make it more achievable as well. So the focus pack will include a vocab challenge, if you want to call it that, where you can add the vocab for that reading and go through it as well. Cool, great. Fiona, the discussions in the community sound much better than the workshops, more accessible. Yes, I think that will be the case. David, most of the Greek workshop calls were books from the later levels of milestones. Yeah, part of the reason for that, David, was to stretch you outside of the vocabulary that you already, outside of the reading you'd already done. So to push you into texts that were unfamiliar at times so that you could, you could develop your Greek. And so Septuagint, and also gets you outside of the New Testament. It's a lot of fun reading the New Septuagint, for instance, getting back in the Old Testament. I love the Old Testament. I almost did my THM in the Old Testament, but I didn't. But I love the Old Testament and I want to keep doing all of that as well. So we will probably still have some Septuagint passages here and there. And again, I'll give you a focus pack for that. You'll get a verse, you'll get the vocab for it. So hopefully that will help as well. Oh, and Lisa, just for what it's worth, you're saying there with regards to reading audiobooks. A lot of these are available on audio, so if you want to listen to those, you can do that as well. Jim Arthur, a book a quarter would be great. Greek interpretation exegesis. Okay, cool. Meg Smith, I'd love to read about verbal aspect with a group. Been wrestling through it, would love to be able to discuss it. All right, well, maybe we will do that then. Reading Academy once a quarter sounds great. Okay. Gillian, on a different subject, you mentioned previously that you will be starting a new BGSS cohort shortly. Do you have a firm decision on day and time there? Yes, I do. If you jump into the community, then you go to beginning Greek calls and you scroll down, you'll see it around the 14th of October, I believe it starts. So if you want to jump down to there, you'll see the call. I'll put a link to it in the call, in the notes for this call, so you can see that. But otherwise, look for it in the community that's already there. I've already put that in there, and you should see it in your time zone as well. Eric Breedy, thank you, Daryl. Thank you for that, Eric. You're welcome. Thank you all for joining me today. It's been a joy. I'm excited about these monthly challenges. I think these are going to be rich and interesting times. I think everybody's going to benefit from them. I'm kind of excited about saying goodbye to the app in some ways, not because I'm happy about losing it. In some ways, I'd rather keep it because it's continuity with what you already have, and I don't like interrupting that continuity. But the fact that it's going to allow us to then reinvest elsewhere, right? That's the key thing for us, including this free thing that, the Stephanos Menos, the consistency awards every month. We're going to be able to give something away. So stay consistent. All right. So that's it for us today. Thank you so much for joining me today. Appreciate all of your time. Stay consistent. Keep taking small, consistent steps toward mastery every day. And I look forward to continuing to serve you, as I know Neil and Dan and Frank do as well, in the community, and helping you to go deeper and richer in the text of the Word of God. Thank you all for joining me. We'll see you all again real soon.